Good morning, friends. This is Surendra Mena here. I would like to welcome you all in this session. Today, we are going to read a poem written by Nissim Iskil. It is titled as Marriage. Marriage is a very common thing. So, the poet Nissim Iskil, he is he is an Indian poet who was born in Bombay, and the brief introduction of the poet has been covered in the previous lecture, that was on the poem written by Nissim Iskil, The Night of the Scorpion. Today in this poem, this poem is a love lyric, and this is on a different theme. It is based on a comparison between a love life and a married life. So, what is the behavior of the two different sex, male and female, while they are unmarried, and what difference do we find while they are married? So, let us read this poem before we explain it. Marriage by Nissim Iskil. Lovers, when they marry, face eternity with touching grace, complacent at being fated, never to be separated. The bride is always pretty, the groom a lucky man. The darkened room roars out the joy of flesh and blood. The use of nakedness is good. I went through this believing all. Our love denied the primal fall. Wordless, we walked among the trees and felt immortal as the breeze. However, many times we came apart, we came together, the same thing over and over again. Then suddenly the mark of Cain began to show on her and me. Why should I ruin the mystery by harping on the suffering rest, myself a frequent wedding guest? This poem is written in 5 stanzas. The first stanza is talking about the life before the marriage, and second and third stanza are talking about the initial stage of married life, and in the fourth and fifth stanza we find the dullness and the stillness in the married life. So let us read the poem line by line, and we will have the explanation at the same time. Lovers, when they marry, face eternity with touching grace. While it is the initial stage, while the boy and the girl they find themselves as lovers, the feeling of their the heart is totally different. They feel very much happy, and they find that their togetherness is because of the God's grace, and it is never ending. And they find that they are made for each other, and the fate had brought their togetherness, and it is destined to be their marriage, and this knot of marriage will tie them together forever, and they will never be separated from each other in the upcoming part of the life. So, in the initial stage of the life before the marriage, the lovers, the boy and the girl, they find themselves a perfect match for each other, and they believe in the God's grace. They find that their fate has brought them together for this rest of the life, and once they get married, their life will be full of joys, and they will be happy forever. The second stanza reads like this: The bride is always pretty, the groom a lucky man. The darkened room roars out the joy of flesh and blood. The use of nakedness is good. So it is a common thing that we believe that the The bride, the woman on the wedding night, is always beautiful. She is considered a beautiful one. That is why the groom, the boy on the wedding night, always considered a lucky man because he finds a beautiful life partner. So the bride is beautiful one. That is why the groom is considered to be lucky. The darkened room, the room of their honeymoon, that is darkened because there is no light on that particular night in their room, roars out the joy of flesh and blood. Here flesh and blood is used for the physical joy. Joy of flesh and blood means the joy of physical love between the bride and groom. The roars, the merrymaking sound that is coming out of the room while they are engaged in the sound of merrymaking is coming out of the room while they are busy, while they are engaged in physical love, and at this occasion they are without clothes, they are nude. So on this occasion their nakedness, their nudeness is considered good because the occasion is like that. So at the initial stage of life, of the married life, the bride as well as the groom, they are very happy, they are busy in love making, and they are happy with each other. The third stanza reads this like this: I went through this believing all. I went through this believing all. Our love denied the primal fall. Wordless, we walked among the trees and felt immortal as the breeze. I went through. The poet says that I has came across the experience of life, that what change occur in the married life by the passing of time, and he feels that every one of us has experienced the same, that there is a gradual change in the married life. Our love denied the primal fall. Here the primal fall is referred about the fall of Adam and Eve. Adam, the first man created by God, Eve, the first woman created by God, and they fall from the paradise, and since then the fate of the man is considered to be inferior. So our love denied the primal fall, the fall of man and woman, the fall of man from the paradise, that is denied. Our love never accepted that. Means we at the initial stage of life, the lovers believe that there will be no troubles, there will be no frustration in their life, because they got themselves for each other for rest of life, and their married life will be full of happiness and there will be no problems in their life. So they denied this fact of problems and frustration in the married life at the initial stage. That is why wordless we walked among the trees. So they are walking in the forest without talking, without uttering a single word. So this silence has certain meaning for themselves, and felt immortal as the breeze. And they felt that while they were walking in the forest, they felt that they are as immortal as the breeze. Breeze means gentle wind. The gentle wind always blow, and it is never ending, never dying. In the same manner, they believe that their love is never ending, their love is never dying, and their love, their life is as immortal as the breeze. So in this stanza, the poet has tried that the human has denied the primal fall of man from the God, and he is very much busy in love making and the lovers believe, the married couple believe that there will be no problem in their life and they will be happy with each other in rest of their life. That is why they feel that their love and their company is immortal as the breeze. The next stanza, however many times we came apart, we came together. The same thing over and over again. Then suddenly the mark of Cain. Here the poet is talking about the repeatedness of certain actions, certain things over and over again with the passing of time. So whenever this happens in a man's life, in a human being's life, he or she feels dull, feels uninterested in that thing. So here, how many times we came apart? Came apart means to be separated from each other. So many a time, with the passing of time, they separated from each other many a time, and again they came together. And this happened so many times in their life, the same thing over and over again. There is a certain routine of their life, and this routine is repeating again and again in their life. That is why they feel boredom in their life. That's suddenly the mark of Cain. And when they feel boredom in their life, they think of the mark of Cain. Cain was the son of Adam and Eve, and he killed his own brother Abel. And when he killed his brother Abel, Abel cursed him that rest of your life will be full of disturbance. You will never find peace in your life, and there will be frustration in rest of your life. So while they feel boredom in their life, they think of Cain, and in the life of Cain there was no peace, and he was always frustrated, he was always disturbed. In the same manner, they find that the men and women, the married men and women, they are also frustrated, they are also disturbed after a certain period of married life. So here they started feeling that there is something wrong with them, with this married life. So this has been the experience of the poet himself as well as the experience of the common man. That is why he has mentioned in the third stanza that I went through this, believing all. He believes, the poet believes that he himself went through this experience, and every common man has experienced the same thing in their married life. So the last stanza reads like this: begin to show honor and me. And this frustration, this disturbance has began to be seen on the face of the man and on the face of the woman. Why should I ruin the mystery by harping on the suffering rest, myself a frequent wedding guest? So the poet finds himself as a frequent wedding guest, a person who often visits the wedding ceremonies. So he says that by repeating the same thing again and again, by saying the mystery of after married life, he does not want to ruin the mystery of the life, the secret of the married life, because at the initial stage the lovers are getting united with this knot of marriage. So they would be very happy, they would have their own dreams, and they are thinking a lot about the rest of their life. But the poet, who is an experienced person, who feels that I know what is going to be happening in the rest of the life, in this married life. So at a point he feels that whenever I go to a wedding ceremony, in a marriage ceremony, I think that what will happen with this couple in the rest of their life. But he doesn't say a single word about that. He is a wiser person, that is why he keeps mum. He never say a single word, and he feels that I should not disturb, I should not ruin the mystery, the secret of the married life. So they themselves should experience the sufferings of rest of their life. So the poem here presents a contrast between lover's life and between married life. Married life at the initial stage is totally different, but as soon as the time passes, there there are a lot of changes in the married life. The husband and wife both are just feel boredom, they are disturbed from each other, they feel disturbed from each other, but still we believe that the knot of marriage is essential for every mankind, and it keeps the society, it keeps the generation going on and on. So but at the same time we must know the facts of life, the fact that there would be happiness in the life, at the same time there will be problems, but we have to face the problems, we have to sort out the problems, and we should try to live a happy and healthy life with all the balances. So that is what is presented through this poem. I hope that every one of you could understand the meaning, the message of the poem and of the poet. So I hope that you enjoyed this. Thank you for joining me. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.